was a brighter blue, though it never ever was brand new. I wore it till it crumbled at the seams. I've kept it all these years, though it's starred with me joys and me tears. It's patches of my memories and my dreams. We live close to the kitchen floor, but high on a never locked door it used to hang. Till at last it was tired and torn, and it fell to the words of scorn me friends all sang. Ah, but I swear and vow, if I only knew now all the things that I knew then, then I'd be glad to wear glad rags again. Just tell me when, and I'd be glad to wear glad rags again. There's a patch for the brown-eyed lass that led me into the grass, then went home to a mansion on high. All her friends in their fancy clothes looked down from their well-bred nose, but I pulled me coat and I looked them in the eye. There's a patch for the lonely nights when the sin of a poor man's plight stung me blind, and my mouth was a collier's curse, for the good of me canted bird seemed so unkind. Ah, but I swear and vow, if I only knew now all the things that I knew then I'd be glad to wear glad rags again. Just tell me when, and I'd be glad to wear glad rags again. Patch for the friends is warm, in fair weather as in storm, that I left on a corner and then I saw no more. There's a million names in mind I never should have left behind, and swapped for a lonely beer on a foreign shore. And there's a patch for the chance I took, in the hope that Lady Luck would steer in view. Patch for the scrapes of fine, as yet another stitch in time would see me through. Ah, but I swear and vow, if I only knew now all the things that I knew then I'd be glad to be glad rags again. Just tell me when, and I'd be glad to wear glad rags again. I swear and vow, if I only knew now all the things that I knew then I'd be glad to wear glad rags again. Just tell me when, and I'd be glad to wear glad rags again. Glad rags again. Hello, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm not sure how many people are going to be out there for this. This is probably going to be the last one of these online end of the month little gigs that I've been doing for the past goodness knows how long, year or so. And it's luckily things are getting back to normal. In fact, I've actually done a gig, a real gig with real people. Since I was last did one of these, and and this weekend also here in the UK it's a public holidays and it's beautiful weather out there, so I hope there's some people out there, and thanks ever so much for everybody who's supported us and been so generous over the last 12 months or so. And I asked for some requests for tonight, and I got quite a few, and there's a few outstanding requests from previous request shows. That first song there was called Glad Rags Again. It's one I usually do with my Bad Pennies, and it was on the album there. I thought I'd show you the albums this time. That's the Parish Notices. It's the reissue, actually, of the Parish Notices. This next one is from a long time before. That was 1998. This is 1986. And look at that. That's me with Jake Walton. This is from 1986, Tuaroo. And I saw Jake the other week, and he looks exactly the same as he did then. This is one of the songs from that album, and it's one I do now actually with Steve Tilston. When Steve and I, more about that later on as well. A song called The Brocky Lads. We used to do it in the Bad Pennies with the great Judy Dinning sang this song. She kind of made it her own, really. And it's a kind of like my version of the kind of raggle-taggle gypsies, Gypsy Davy thing. The Brocky lads are bad, the Brocky lads are bunny. The Brocky lads were the fairground lads, the carnival lads from the north of England in days gone by. When the Brocky lads came back in the first days of summer, the whole town came out to watch them pass. In their trailers and their vans, full of candy rides and pleasure, and a fond smile for each and every lass. Oh, the Brocky lads are bad, but the Brocky lads are bonny. Oh, the Brocky lads are all they've said and done. And I've never loved but once. She was the fairest of any. But away with the Brocky lads she's gone. The Brocky lads are black with the ways of the devil. They're just tinkers and hawkers at heart. All their flash clothes and cars hide a fear for to settle, 'cause they're born within the creaking of the cart. Oh, the Brocky lads are bad, but the Brocky lads are bonny. Oh, the Brocky lads are all they've said and done. And I've never loved but once. She was the fairest of any. But away with the Brocky lads she's gone. When we'd all had our fill of the racket and the rattle, and the last time the lights had all gone down, then they packed away their wild world of painted wood and metal, and went off to work and woo another town. Oh, the Brocky lads are bad, but the Brocky lads are bonny. Oh, the Brocky lads are all they've said and done. And I've never loved but once. She was the fairest of any. But away The Brookie Lads are bad, the Brookie Lads are bonny, and that was a song. I remember writing that song actually, which I don't often remember writing these things, but Jake and I were playing at a festival in Cornwall called, I think it was called the Elephant Fair, and we were opening for the Pogues. This is 1985, so the Pogues, remember the Pogues, they were just kind of emerging at the time. And we were sitting around in this beautiful spot just near the Devon and Cornwall border, as I recall. And that's where that song was written, or most of it was, and then we kind of pushed it together later on. So from 1985 right up to the present, this is from my latest album. There it is, Crazy Pagan. And it's my lockdown album. Bit of a story behind this one. Back in the very early 1970s, there was a very famous rock band had a very successful album, which I had a copy of. All my friends had the album, and had a very distinctive sleeve, a picture on the front. It's very, very distinctive. It had a picture of the four members of the band in this kind of out of this world, sort of like an alien landscape. And we used to look at that album and listen, play it, and looking at the cover, saying, wow, I wonder where that picture was taken. It was just such a strange picture with this big concrete sort of monolith next to it. Very spooky thing. Little did we know that the photograph was taken at the bottom of our street, actually, behind the coal mine in Easington Colliery. There's Easington Colliery, so just over there. And that's where this photograph was taken in about 1970. And it's all of that's gone now, and it's all landscaped. I was there a few years back, and the place where this photograph was taken, it's all green grass and hills and stuff looking out to sea. So here's the song. See if you can guess, after all that, which band it was and which album it was from this. This is a song called The Loon in the Moon. Loon in the moon, what were you doing on summer's day? I'll start that again. Loon in the moon, can that be you shining down on these hills? Once a circus of workers and dirt, now so gentle and still. Is that you tapping a beat on the breeze in a slap happy jack wild style, higher than high, with your wide eyes seeing for miles? But we know what it's like to be mad, to lose everything that you had. That's why those blue eyes are sad. What were you doing here on that distant day? So long ago, could have known for to bring you this way, to a black open wound on the world, like the shadowy meadows of Mars, forever captured in a picture with you and the stars. It's like to be mad, to lose everything that you had. That's why those blue eyes are sad. so has that towering totem of stone where you poured out your scorn. And there's no one to care that you're dead, do those things that the tales have long told. And no one to cry just 'cause you died before you got old. But we know what it's like to be mad, to lose everything that you had. That's why those blue eyes are sad. We know what it's like to be mad, to lose everything that you had. That's why those blue eyes are sad. Did you guess? That was Loon in the Moon from the Crazy Pagan CD I've just brought out last year, end of last year. This next one is from this one. This is called The Ballad Beyond. This is the previous album from about 4 or 5 years ago. And this song was a commission. People up at the Morpeth Folk Festival, the Morpeth Gathering, asked me to come up with this song. And it was at the time of the London Olympics, because back in, from Victorian times right through till after the Second World War, there was an event that used to take place in Morpeth in Northumberland called the Morpeth Olympics. So predated the Olympic movement, the official Olympic movement, and the Morpeth Olympics. It was at a time when local sports days, village sports days were commonplace all over the UK. And the Morpeth Olympics was one of the biggest ones. So this is a song that they asked me to do, and I wrote it originally for my friend Benny Graham. He sang this to start with and recorded it for the Morpeth people rather than me, and then I did it afterwards. So this is the Morpeth Olympics. So I hope I remember this one. Two people have asked me to do Jean has asked me to do this, and somebody else, I can't remember, Steve asked me to do this one. So this is the Morpeth Olympics. As troubles overwhelmed me, stress and strife befriended me, darkness had descended, for to take me by the hand, I decided I should go forth from a world upon the warpath. I found myself in Morpeth, in fair Northumberland, it being hot and sunny, and me being strapped for money, on a grassy bank so bonny, oh, I lay me down to sleep. I had the strangest dream of sorts, concerning crowds, men of sports, clad in singlets and in shorts, as far as the eye could see. Can you jump or can you wrestle, can you tug of war, or maybe want to wager or a bet? This is what the working man's been waiting for, the Morpeth Olympics, it's as good as it can get. Now I wasn't paralytic, just maybe soporific, but the term Morpeth Olympics, it was one I'd never heard. I'd not seen it on the newsstands, on World of Sport or Grandstand, but the best event in all the land, that seemed to be the word. A fella selling panacody from a stall he'd set up next to me said ever since 1870 we've held these games. Well, we can't boast of many's below, but for each Cramcombe and Corbett we've had men who'd wipe the floor with many's a well-known name. Can you jump or can you wrestle, can you tug of war, or maybe want to wager or a bet? This is what the working man's been waiting for, the Morpeth Olympics, it's as good saw the sun would be in full display, that might well gild the lily, but in Moorville it's too chilly to run round willy-nilly, I am very pleased to say. So at the Grange Mouthfield assembled men of size and men more nimble, the vista it resembled something truly Homeric. Then they announced the opening race, the Alistair Anderson steeplechase. Off they went at quite a pace, like horse muck off a stick. Can you jump or can you wrestle? Can you tug of war? Or maybe want to wager or a bet? This is what the working man's been waiting for. The Moorville Olympics, it's as good as it can get. Then the next event, the pole vault, it shuddered to a sudden halt, when through someone's forgetful fault they got in quite a hole. No sooner started than it stopped, when some old lady in a strop came up to claim her clothes prop they were using for the pole. Then after much delay and debating, with the crowd stood standing waiting, and more deliberating, the tug of war it did begin. The umpire shouted, off we go. They tugged for half an hour or so, then tumbled down like dominoes when somebody broke wind. Can you jump or can you wrestle? Can you tug of war? Or maybe want to wager or a bet? This is what the working man's been waiting for. The Moorville Olympics, it's as good as it can get. Now myself, I am no athlete, but I was gutted to compete. I was up and on my feet to join the relay team. I was poised to give it all I've got for victory or maybe not. Then came the starter's pistol shot, and I woke up from my dream. Well, it's many years since Moorville saw crowds of people, maybe more. Life has come at standing door with millions in the sack. But ask me where I'd rather go, not to London, Tokyo, Sydney, San Francisco, but to Moorville in the crack. Can you jump or can you wrestle? Can you tug of war? Or maybe want to wager or a bet? This is what the working man's been waiting for. The Moorville Olympics, it's as good as it can get. Moorville Olympics. Right. Now this is a one that I haven't done this one for a long time, and I don't know how I do this one. I do this one like this, I think. It's a song that was written for a theatre production called Fighting the Tide, that was written by Kate Bramley from the Bad Pennies, way back about 2001, I think this was. And it was about the kind of fishing industry, vaguely, but it was a very not complex story, but an entertaining story, to say the least. And this is a song called All Troll and No Tickle, and the tickle bit is tickle was what the fishermen used to call tobacco. A tin of tickle, a tin of tickler would be a tin of tobacco, and it goes back, I think, to the Navy, where tickler was a sort of a like a kind of an Aldi Lidl sort of thing, where they used to have lots and lots of different products, all with the same name. But some fishermen that I was talking to when we did this song, when we did the play, told me about this, the tobacco thing. So this is All Troll and No Tickle, and we did it on with Kate singing it, actually, on this album here, which is a live album. Back in I don't know when we did this one, Northern Echoes, that was called, Live on the Tyne, and we did a whole load of my older songs on that, and it was on there. and we always used to introduce it as Old Troll and No Tickle. It's the world's first anti-smoking sea shanty. So it goes like this. My last dry smoke, just wish me well. Old Troll and no tickle, and wave goodbye on an 8-foot swell. No more tickle for me. 7 full sets of seasons, an ounce of tickle a week. My last stroke just went off to the ocean, where you don't play hide and seek. And it's Old Troll and no tickle, no more tickle for me. Yes, it's Old Troll and no tickle, no more tickle for me. This home port fever soon takes hold. Old Troll and no tickle, but these days it just leaves me cold. No more tickle for me. Picture me on the quayside, bareheaded Sunday best, and nobody there for me waiting to drink to my success. So it's Old Troll and no tickle, no more tickle for me. Yes, it's Old Troll and no tickle, no more tickle for me. These men who've shared my life so long, Old Troll and no tickle, to home and the heartstrings they'll be gone. No more tickle for me. But my tickle tin is empty, my slate is sea-washed clean, thinking of where I'm going to, not where I've been. And it's Old Troll and no tickle, no more tickle for me. And it's Old Troll and no tickle, no more tickle for me. Old Troll, no tickle. That was a request as well. And as was this next one. And 2 or 3 people have asked me for this one over the weeks, and I've kind of resisted doing it. But it's very much a joining in sort of thing, which obviously you can join in at home. Please do. This goes back to a project that I was involved with called the Darwin Song Project, and it was all about Charles Darwin, and it was instigated by the people who run Shrewsbury Festival. Shrewsbury Festival is going to happen this year at the end of August, so hope the weather stays clear for them, because I think they're doing it outdoors rather than in their usual marquee sort of situation. But anyway, back I think in 2009 maybe, they did this Darwin Song Project, and there was a whole bunch of people involved, and this is one of the songs I did for that. And it's a kind of an outlaw ballad. It's about a posse of people chasing across the United States. And who are they chasing? They're chasing Charles Robert Darwin. The song's called We'll Hunt Him Down. And do this when I'm playing gigs in certain parts of America. In other parts of America, I don't sing this song. See what you think. We'll Hunt Him Down, and it's on. It was on the Darwin album, but then I did a live version of it on this, which is like a. It says 18 essential Jez Lowe songs. I'm not sure this one is essential, to be honest. It's called Heads Up, by the way. So this is We'll Hunt Him Down. Across this noble country, this fair land of the free, I'm searching for a man who's made a monkey out of me. And God is riding with me, and half the world is too. His name is Charlie Darwin, and he must not speak to you. We'll hunt him down, we'll hunt him down. And every word he ever said will burn into the ground. We'll hunt him down, we'll hunt him down. Charles Robert Darwin, you're not welcome in this town. First we thought him crazy, so we just let him be, playing with worms and beetles and little critters from the sea. Then he started spreading rumours that we scarcely could believe, that our ancestors were chimpanzees, not Adam and Eve. We'll hunt him down, we'll hunt him down. And every word he ever said will burn into the ground. We'll hunt him down, we'll hunt him down. Charles Robert Darwin, you're not welcome in this town. It's hard to think about him without thinking to abuse. It says that he's an Englishman, but still that's no excuse. He's robbed our schools and churches of the truth the Bible tells. Now it's time to kick his sorry ass and damn his words to hell. We'll hunt him down, we'll hunt him down. And every word he ever said will burn into the ground. We'll hunt him down, we'll hunt him down. Charles Robert Darwin, you're not welcome in this town. We're holy and we're righteous and we know it to be true. It was on a Saturday morning that God made me and you. He made us smart and clever, he even gave us tools like guns and bombs and rifles, cause God's a Republican too. We'll hunt him down, we'll hunt him down. And every word he ever said will burn into the ground. We'll hunt him down, we'll hunt him down. Charles Robert Darwin, you're not welcome in this town. I said Charles Robert Darwin, you're not welcome in this town. We'll hunt him down. There you go. Thank you. From there, I'll do this one, which was featured in the BBC Radio Ballads, but in fact, it was the only song of mine in the Radio Ballads series that had been written a long time before that the producers decided to use it in the programme, even though it was an older song rather than one written specifically for the Radio Ballads, for the BBC Radio Ballads series, as all the others were. And this one was recorded on the very first Bad Pennies album. There it was. That's Briefly on the Street. And this is a song called Old Hammerhead. And it's the hammerhead refers to, not to the shark, but to the crane. It's a very distinctive looking dockside skyline, the hammerhead cranes, sort of big bulky things. and there was quite a few on the River Wear at Sunderland, where I used to live, in a place called Hendon in Sunderland many years ago. And but this song was from about 1989, and was on the first Bad Pennies record. And so it's the demise of the shipbuilding industry on the River Wear at Sunderland. Old Hammerhead cried in vain. Old Hammerhead weeps when the wind blows, old Hammerhead cried in vain. High above our houses the last real water crane, and we heard him cry for help. We denied him in our shame, and we huddled in the darkness of his shadow. Who will come and help me? Old Hammerhead cried in vain. I've watched and I've protected you, now who will do the same? I've kept you from starvation, deprivation's burning rain, and you flourished and survived here in my shadow. I've watched these streets around me, old Hammerhead cried in vain. Swarms of tiny children have gathered round me at their games. I've watched them change from playgrounds to windy lovers' lanes, as they fondled and kissed there in me shadow. You always told me I'd be needed, old Hammerhead cried in vain. I stood by you in hundreds when you fought in freedom's name, and better ships no other yard could ever hope to claim than them that slipped to the river in my shadow. But now I stand alone here, old Hammerhead cried in vain. You say my use is over and that progress is to blame, and the pride of these yards you say will never rise again, and no saviour will step out from my shadow. They're coming for to take me now, old Hammerhead cried in vain. With savage blade and cutting tool, fearsome burning flame, they'll cast lots for me engines and divide me mighty frame, and they won't even leave me with my shadow. Hammerhead, old Hammerhead, from Briefly on the Street. And where am I at in? Right, this one, I think. This is a request I got during the week, actually. It might be one I've done actually before in this set of gigs, online gigs over the last year. And this one is from the Tenterhooks album. This is the reissue version of it. And from This Is with the Bad Pennies from 1995, I think, 1995 or 1996. And this is a true story. A protest song, something I feel very strongly about. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm going to do the song anyway. I had a dog that wouldn't bark, his name was Aloysius. I found him silent on the street some years ago. He was wandering around just minding his own business, which covered him complete from head to toe. Well, and he knew tricks, he was much too old to teach, but he could still lick the parts you wish that you could. But he wouldn't growl, he wouldn't bark or howl, he wouldn't move a jowl, but for food and drink and kisses. I said, stay now, bonny lad, but why stay silent, Aloysius? One night we found him sat towards the TV facing. I couldn't help but laugh to see him stare, as huntsman, horse and hound across the screen went chasing a fox that wandered foolish from its lair. I said, sit down, you can't run with the pack. He just turned round, and to my surprise he answered back. He said, you and your kind, you must be bloody blind to think that for all time you can treat us like your wishes. I said, stay now, bonny lad, and watch your language, Aloysius. He said, you call us man's best friend, and then you kick and beat us, or train us to hunt our brothers just for sport. If we were in the Orient, they say they'd kill and eat us, and our skins for fashion would be sold and bought. Or else you poison us with your scent and cigarettes, or else just breed us in cages unto death. And we must obey, we have to sit and stay, and if a dog here has his day, he's condemned as being vicious. I said, stay now, bonny lad, but why stay silent, Aloysius? So I had a dog and he could talk, his name was Aloysius, though I must admit he never said goodbye. And one day we awoke and found he'd up and left us for that great big kennel in the sky. And from that day he'd never said another word, and people say it surely was my own voice that I'd heard. But if I greet a stray dog on the street, like some old friend that you'd meet, don't look at me suspicious. I just say, stay now, bonny lad, but don't stay silent like Aloysius. I had a dog that wouldn't bark, his name was Aloysius. Right. There you go. I mentioned the album, did I mention this? With the album I did with Steve Tilston, which is called The Janus Game. Steve's a big pal of mine, hero of mine from many years, great guitar player, great songwriter. He's got a new album just out actually at the beginning of this year, Steve, so check out his website. But this is a song from the album that we did together, and all the songs we wrote out together, which we don't normally do. We usually, Steve's very much a solitary writer, as I am, but in the case of the songs on this album, we kind of collaborated on all of them, in fact, in various different ways. And as I said before, this is probably going to be the last Facebook online gig that I do, because everything is hopefully going to get back to some semblance of normality as far as live music is concerned. Cross fingers. But Steve and I are planning on doing a duo gig online together in July sometime, so watch out for that. I was talking to him during the week, and we're going to try and get together and do some songs from the Jez Lowe album and some new stuff as well. So keep an eye out for that. It's worth, and it's great to play with Steve because he's got such great ideas and stuff. Anyway, this is from the Jez Lowe album. This is called Wagamoon. Wagamoon is what the old the folks at Hartlepool, which is where I went to school in Hartlepool, and when there was a big steelworks there, when they used to light up the furnaces for the night shift on the steelworks in Hartlepool, the whole of the sky over that part of town over the North Sea used to light up spectacularly, and it was known locally as the Wagamoon, and this is a song about that. And at the Hartlepool Folk Club back in the 1970s, which is where I more or less started singing for the first time, the resident band for a short while called themselves Wagamoon as well, with Graham Whitley, who was a big pal of mine back in the day. So this is Wagamoon. I sat and saw the Wagamoon lighting up me dreaming, and I reached out to the warmth of the furnace fire gleaming in these eyes, But the Tommy shops were closed, now but dust on every counter, and the tokens in my hands weren't worth the weight in the water in these eyes, Wagamoon, Wagamoon, all you shone upon is gone to rock and roll. Wagamoon, Wagamoon, you flared and you faded much too soon. I was born in the summer, but life seems like one long winter. On my last cold days I hope there's a look for one tender in these eyes, But the world around my door rings with protests and dramas, yet all the news I read seems sanitized for grandmas to these eyes, Wagamoon, Wagamoon, all you shone upon is gone to rock and roll. Wagamoon, Wagamoon, you flared and you faded much too soon. Too much they say will kill you, but as I look around I see something so familiar to these eyes, I swept and saw the Wagamoon just as I remembered. It was only old man reaching to the fire and kicking embers to these eyes and these eyes. Wagamon, Wagamon, oh, your Charlotte corn is gone to rock and roll. Wagamon, Wagamon, you fled and you faded much too soon. Wagamoon. Wagga Wagamoon. Thank you. Right. This is a song that it's been requested time and time again over the past few months, and I'm finally going to give it a shot tonight. And it was written originally for an album in America. I had an American agent, American manager, in fact, and called Andy Smizer, and she was very much involved in kind of benefit albums and stuff like that. And she got me to write this song, and it was for a wildlife preservation society, the name of which escapes me. And this is a song I came up with for that. And it's a song called The Big Fear. We eventually did it with the Bad Pennies again on this album here. This is Honesty Box. So this is 20 years ago, 2001, 2002, I think we did this one. And The Big Fear, yeah, it's a kind of an anthropomorphic song. And again, it's a request. And what can I tell you about it? I don't know if you're... my dad was a big animal lover. He sort of really liked the whole sort of wildlife thing in a big way. But he was also a fan of the film noir, the Humphrey Bogart movies and Raymond Chandler novels and stuff like that. So I've kind of tried to combine those two elements in this one song. I think that's what I try to do. So see if you can spot any of that as it comes along. The Big Fear. The day had been just one big sleep, now the night was one big fear. Trouble might be my business, but it had no business being here. Some cubs were high on pesticide and a few too many truffles. Along the way there'd been foul play and some chicks got their feathers ruffled. These woods are like a circus now, this forest is like a zoo. But when the first starts flying, then it's me they all come to. But nobody's not seen nothing, so I'd best be on my way. If anyone asks, is that in the mask? You'll hear the folks all say, it was the lone badger. There goes the lone badger. It must have been around midnight, I forget as time goes by. News came round that Furry Grey had picked tonight to die. Now Furry was a friend of mine, and I'd seen him earn his stripes. It didn't seem right, some triple in the night should knock the wind out of his pipes. By the time I reached that roadside, it was half a tail shakes later. A brush on the beat was sweeping up, and I asked about spectators. He said nobody's not seen nothing, so I'd best be on my way. folks all say it was the lone badger. There goes the lone badger. Next day I drank with the smart set when a black Maltese bird crowed. She said halfway down the highway more fresh flesh lay on the road. And no good dog we'd seen around the barns and farmyard gates had met his end on a hairpin bend and was in one sorry state. We'd all of us seen roadkill and lost friends beneath fast wheels, but cars with jaws full of teeth and claws, that's one suspicious deal. But nobody's not seen nothing, so I'd best be on my way. If anyone asks who was that in the mask, you'll hear the folks all say it was the lone badger. There goes the lone badger. So I sniffed around where Furry spent the night. That was his last one. And of all the barns in all the farms, I had to walk into that one. There was blood upon that dusty floor. A few coins weren't hard to find. There were boot prints circled round and round. There was fear inside my mind. I could almost hear their voices and their dogs half mad with rage. Still I see the fear in Furry's eyes as I weep upon this page. But nobody's not seen nothing, so I'd best be on my way. If anyone asks who is that in the mask, you'll hear the folks all say, there goes the lone badger. There goes the lone badger. So is it fodder for the traffic or sport to quench your thirst for blood? Who's to know the difference through the maggots and the mud? Now the cops is asking questions, the forest's all abuzz. They're asking when the likes of them will respect the likes of us. But the day has been just one big sleep, now the night is one big fear. Trouble might be my business, but it has no business being here. 'Cause nobody's not seen nothing, so I'd best be on my way. If anyone asks who is that in the mask, you'll hear the folks all say it was the lone badger. There goes the lone badger. There goes the lone badger. The big fear, in fact. Thank you. A couple of more songs tonight, if that's okay. I've got time for that. Some of these songs have been quite long. But I thought I'd do this one over here, I think. Put that down there for a second. A song called The Last of the Widows of the Duckbill Seamen. I've sung this many, many times over these past few weeks, past few months. But I thought I'd do it tonight because yesterday was the 70th anniversary of the mining disaster at Easington Colliery. There's the old pit there. When 83 men were killed when there was an explosion in the duckbill seam. So I thought I'd do this one. For all my pals back in Easington there. Love song really as much as anything, but this is The Last of the Widows. The last of the widows of the duckbill seam is lying tonight with her young man again. They're clinging fast again together, soothing sighs and pain, and coaxing back the love their loss survived. The last of the widows of the duck-bill flare is brushing black dust from his strong brown hair. He's stretched on her bosom with his love laid bare, and making up for time fate stole away. Parting words were never spoken, last kisses never broken. She never even watched him walk away. But the last of the widows of the duck-bill scene reached out and took his hand again today. The last of the widows of the duck-bill fire stood bleak and bewildered as the Count climbed higher, then wept for the world across a newsroom wire when she heard his name called out across the crowd. And when the world had turned to leave, 80 women turned to grieve and cursed their compensation through their tears. But the last of the widows of the duck-bill scene can close her eyes and wipe away the years. And the last of the widows of the duck-bill flame is free of the lonely nights of bitterness and blame. And there's some who remember when they speak her name, the reason why she lived so long alone. And in the fields above the dangers of Gresford, Trimden Grange, Haswell, Hartley, Beam and Markham Main, the last of the widows of the duck-bill scene is walking with her minor lad again. Last of the widows. And thanks again for everybody who's been watching these concerts over the last year or more and been very generous with their support as well. Thanks so much for that. And hopefully we'll see you soon. If things don't work out, then I'll be back doing these at some point. But in the meantime, I'll be doing one with Steve Tilston at some point in July. Watch out for the dates. Look on my website, jezlowe.com. And you can also find details there of I've started this Patreon page. If you want to know more about these songs that I write and the books that I do, then this whole sort of thing where you can find out all about that, how I go about putting these songs together and do different concerts and different songs and stuff like that on the Patreon page. There's details about that on my website. And in the meantime, I'll finish with this song, which again is someone just asked me to do tonight. It's Margaret Montgomery asked me to do this one. Thank you, Margaret. And this is, again, it's an old Bad Penny song, but it's one we also do with the Pitman Poets. Watch out next year. October next year, October 2022, the Bad Pennies, not the Bad Pennies, the Pitman Poets will be on the Rampage again. The Bad Pennies will be on the Rampage at Christmas. We'll be doing a Christmas tour. The Pitman Poets for next year. So I'll finish with this one. Thanks ever so much. Take care. Hope to see you soon. How a man lies on the sheets, how a man lies on the sheets, how a man lies on the sheets, how a man lies on the sheets. There'll be tears in the eyes of the of the most strong-hearted, tears in the eyes of the miners and wives when these coal town days are done. And it's towered above this town since this century first started, but the towers will be all torn down, and the whole wave lie rolled away. And there'll be tears in the eyes of the weak, and in the eyes of the most strong-hearted, tears in the eyes of the miners and wives when these coal town days are done. How am I the liars and the cheats? 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 Men have worked it in fear and rage, and they've cursed it down in its darkness, but they'll walk from that last ship's cage, and they'll curse what the future's to bring. And there'll be tears in the eyes of the weak, and in the eyes of the most strong-hearted, tears in the eyes of the miners and wives when these coal town days are done. How am I the liars and the cheats? 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 And the fight between the mind and the man, and the lives and blood that it cost us, it was never to be lost or won, because the powers that be ruled the day. And there'll be tears in the eyes of the weak, and in the eyes of the most strong-hearted, tears in the eyes of the miners and wives when these coal town days are done. Yes, there'll be tears in the eyes of the weak, and in the eyes